Hey, welcome to Next Level. I'm Chris Tallman. I'm so excited to speak with my first guest because I've been a fan of his since I saw him on an HBO Young Comedian special in 1992. Yeah, I'm an old man. I'm a grizzly, gray-haired old man. His jokes, they're wonderful, but his ability to ride out the silence when the jokes don't work, which is death for some comics, he can do it. It is astounding. He seems unfazed by things that don't work. It's almost as though he delights in pointing out that his joke that he just told, it tanked, and he likes that better than if the joke actually worked. It's an incredibly confident performance by a guy that I want to know more about, and so right now, let's talk with Andy Kindler.
It's much better for me to say, I don't know what I do. I'm a simple man with simple tastes, which means basically that I injured my taste buds. All right, look, people, I maintain that I can turn any front part of a sentence into a joke. And that's what I did there.
Well done.
I mean, or I should say, occasionally I can do it.
You're doing good.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
If you're just joining us, I am Chris Tallman. This is Next Level, and you are talking with, we, the royal we.
Well, I think you make sense.
Okay, thank you.
You are talking to?
I'm talking to comedian Andy Kindler.
And you are, the royal you, are listening to you talk to Andy Kindler.
Mm-hmm. Andy.
Talk to me. Because
you are a comedian, I'm going this direction. Are you the kind of person, like when you're doing jokes, if you hear that one person at the back of the room going, ah, like, does that please you to find certain buttons to nail with specific audience members?
For a time period, I would pay people a certain amount per month to stop by shows and go, a couple of times. I do like the idea that there are some people getting it and some people aren't getting it.
When you were growing up as a kid, did you like comedy? Was that something you were drawn to, like listening, watching on the Tonight Show or something like that?
I always did, and my family was always funny. I feel like I feel like I'm launching into a prepackaged bit, but I'm going to make it fresh today. Normally, I'm not here for my interviews.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I subcontract them out emotionally, but. No, my whole family was. My dad was very funny, but I grew up in a generation where I wanted to be like a musician. I wanted to be Bob Dylan. I wanted to be the Beatles.
That's a big thing.
I would have picked the Beatles.
Like comedy guys, not all of them, but comedians typically sort of have a rock sort of vision of themselves. Like, I want to be accepted. I want to be sort of idolized the same way that we love our rock stars.
Right now, rock and roll and stand-up comedy are interchangeable in terms of art forms. Now, people are going to say when they hear that, Andy, that's not true. And I think it's important that people know that I'm guilty of hyperbole. I say things that are somewhat true, but have a lot of holes in it. So don't listen as if you're listening to someone who's coherent.
And you know this is a court of law, by the way.
I've always said I'm glad the court of public opinion is not an actual court.
Where'd you grow up?
Queens, New York.
All right.
And I was, old enough to see the Beatles live on Ed Sullivan.
Really?
There's something very depressing about that.
No.
I mean, not live on Ed Sullivan. I wasn't in the theater.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
Close your eyes and I'll kiss you. Tomorrow I'll miss you. Remember, I'll always be true.
Did you know, like, was that a big deal where you would say to everybody, we're watching the Beatles tonight on TV?
The whole thing in my house when we were young, the law was save my seat. So if you got up and said, save my seat, please, on some theoretical basis, you could keep that seat for an undetermined amount of time. And then our whole childhood was just basically us stealing the seats from each other.
I feel like that works with siblings. I feel like you're like,
oh no, my parents, forget about it. My parents, if we had yapped off to them.
How often do you yap off, by the way?
I don't yap off that much. I'm from the generation where if you never saw your parents, they visited you once a week.
Oh, interesting.
And they bounced a quarter off your bunk.
Keep it high and tight.
Right, keep it high and tight. So yeah, but when I was a kid, I was more, I played classical violin when I was a kid. I did a lot of things that were big. Yeah, they were big mistakes. At the time, my mom said that I said something about the violin. I don't trust any of my mom's stories. I think that I don't know what her game is, but she says I wanted to play classical violin, but then very quickly I hated it when I realized you had to practice it a lot to get a good sound out of it, and that even when you got a good sound out of it, that wouldn't be good enough.
I used to play classic tuba.
Oh, well, that's even harder.
Dude,
I mean, that's ridiculous.
Dude,
there's no good end game there.
What was I thinking? No. Girls love the tuba player. Oh, that's all they want to do. They mean the big sweaty guy who looks sort of like a young Santa Claus in the back? Oh, yeah.
I bet there's some tuba guys out there who are real makeout artists.
Please contact us, nextlevel@gmail.com. Why did you go to the violin? Did you just want to be a musician?
No, the thing about the violin is it's some kind of a thing that I have a faint memory, but only my mother saying I like the violin. My problem was that there were many things that seemed like a good idea to me. Violinist seemed like a good idea to me. And then my violin teacher thought that I was she thought I was a prodigy. And when I say the word prodigy, I mean it very loosely. In the sense that it's not an actual prodigy, but you're the best person in your house on your block. So she thought I had a lot of potential, and very quickly I hated it. So then it took me guess how many years it took me after that to quit?
14.
Did I already say?
No, I don't know.
Oh, it took me 12.
Really?
I played through 4th grade through senior year of college.
I was going comically high. Holy cow, for real?
Yeah, because I have issues. Parental issues.
I did the same thing. I played tuba way longer. I figured out...
Way longer than after you heard there was a spit valve.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. The spit valve did not bother me one bit.
Because I watched the Beatles, I would take like a tennis racket and I would play the guitar. So I very quickly wanted to be a guitarist, but still play. And then at age 15, I picked up the guitar. And by this time, it was just like Bill Dwyer says, it was a waiting game. I just was hoping my violin teacher would say, you shouldn't play anymore.
Andy, the prodigy thing, we were just trying to fleece your folks for cash.
And that wasn't even it. I wish that had been it. I wish at the end of the whole thing, it had been some kind of mind control.
Do you still play guitar?
I do play guitar, but not enough, and not as much as I'd like to.
For fun?
Well, the thing is, I don't do anything for, quote, fun. This is the thing. I think, I do watercolors. So when I start a watercolor, I don't say to myself, this is going to be just a little, like a scratch drawing for some down the road masterpiece.
Right.
I say right then, right now, get ready, Monet. Stand aside. Name of another artist.
Manet.
Manet. One side, Mondrian.
Oh, look at you.
Excuse me, Miro. Pardon. I want it to be a masterpiece. So, like you see, I hear a lot of comedians. I was a comedian who wanted to be a musician, but I wrote songs, and I thought I could write good songs, but they took forever to write. And most of the songs I wrote, I hated them while I was writing, and they made me feel bad inside. So to me, I have an ego that says, if I really applied myself, I could write more great songs, and I could do it. But I don't have the thing that makes a person, maybe I'm wrong about that. Whereas jokes, I don't think about writing jokes.
It just comes to you.
They just come to me. It comes easy to me. Comedians are frustrated musicians, and musicians are frustrated comedians. But it's not that they're frustrated. There's a lot of crossover to the field.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of, some people are meant to be musicians, some people are meant to be comedians, and some people are meant to be both. So what you're saying is, yes, I am a triple threat, a quadruple threat.
Yeah. Because
you haven't seen me dance.
Well, I know that you got rave reviews and Sweet Charity. You were something else.
Musical theater is always my love, and I will always go back to that in the summers.
Broadway is calling. I know.
Broadway is calling, and that's when the doctor said the voices would come. No, I'm not a Broadway guy, but I would be. But you see, I'd like to be in a musical. I'm ready for it, but not really. I don't want to do it.
Do you sing?
I do sing, but many people don't like the way I sing. I enjoy it.
Okay, well, I mean, as long as you're happy.
I'm happy with it, but I also love the way Bob Dylan sings.
Once upon a time, you dressed so fine, threw the bums a dime in your prime. Didn't you? People called, say beware dog, you're bound to fall. You thought they were all just kidding you.
Not just the way he writes songs. I love the sound of his voice. I love Randy Newman's voice.
Yeah.
I love, if I had more examples of the type of voice I like.
Tom Waits.
Tom Waits, not so much because it sounds slightly contrived to me, and because
it's a character.
One of my heroes, Tom Sharpling from The Best Show, can't stand. It doesn't. Not that he can't stand Tom Waits, but once you hear him talk about Tom Waits or The Doors, you can't enjoy those groups anymore.
He takes it apart for you.
He takes it apart, except he'll never take apart the Grateful Dead for me. I will always be a Deadhead to the day I die.
Do you still play music? Like, do you play gigs and stuff like that?
Well, I've done a few forays over the years. I've had a couple of nights at the old Largo. I did a night where I had comedians who write songs and they play.
No kidding.
And over the last like 5 or 10 years, say, I started to open myself up to doing quote unquote funny songs. I've done them before, but when I started comedy in the 80s, if you took your guitar on the road with you, you might get beaten up by the other comics because they'd be afraid you'd be a terrible guitar act who's going to do the lowest common denominator song parodies.
We should tell listeners right now the 80s were a thing.
The 80s were a thing that were before. I don't know if you've heard of the 90s, but before and many of you I know were born 95, 96, 97. And if you were born in the year 2000, I really don't think I want to talk to you.
Oh no!
No, get out of here.
You're done with them?
Take your wares down the street.
Take your white belt and be off with you.
Yeah, you juvenile.
So I remember seeing you. The first time I remember seeing you is it the Young Comedian special? Is that who was on that one? Was that one with you? Was Ray Romano on that one?
Ray Romano was on it. It was hosted by
HBO.
Dana Carvey.
Yeah. I watched that thing many times.
Janine Garofalo was on it.
Yeah, and that episode, like,
Judd Apatow.
There are so many heavy hitters on that one, but you're the one that leapt out at me because of, again, the way you do stand-up. Like, you're not just funny, but you have an attitude, like your little bits where it's like you would do something and it wouldn't get a big response, and you would just sit there and go, hold until I get the laugh I deserve.
I can't believe you remember the exact word. And this is why when I start to believe my own press, when somebody is in my head, that's exactly what I wanted to convey at that moment.
Fucking funny.
And the interesting thing about, well, it's not interesting if you say there's an interesting thing about it, is that thing that you were watching there, that was, to me, in its infancy.
Yeah.
So like I didn't feel like I feel today on stage, when I'm really more comfortable and I'm really feel like, hey, I've never been funnier. No one's interested. No one's paying $50 to see Kindler live at the $50 auditorium.
Oh, that place, they charge too much.
I just want to bring in why can't I? You hear these comedians, they bring, we brought in $100,000. Have you ever heard that associated with me?
I mean, well, you're mad.
That's not what it's about, though, right?
No.
If it was about the money, would I be here doing this podcast that I'm unfamiliar with?
Absolutely. We're working on it. Honest to Christ. That's why you're here.
In other words, are you saying that I'm the person who might take this podcast to the next level?
That's right, my friend.
Why is my voice in this register?
That's all right.
Do you ever think, now you probably don't think this way because you have a lovely voice, but I can't stand the sound of my voice.
No, your voice is great.
All right, 65. It would be better if it was 65 degrees. Do you think this is going to get popular again? They'll sample these DJ.
Can you walk the plank and kiss the pole?
What is that? What's that from?
Apparently that's a DJ term for when you talk over when a song has like a 30-second like musical thing before the guy starts singing.
Oh God.
So it's you're walking the plank and you kiss the pole when you stop your DJ intro right as he about to sing.
Oh my God.
That's called walking the plank and kiss the pole, apparently.
That just shows you that certain fields should not have lingo. You know what I mean? Because there's something weird about that.
Oh, yeah.
This guy kissed, there's something homoerotic about it.
I think it's just full on like erotic, just like, I don't think there's anything subtle about that.
If I had $1 for every time in college someone suggested I walk down their plank and kiss their pole, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was the happy club, not the gay club.
Can I go back to the Young Comedian special for a thing? So when would you go? When was that?
That was, I always have trouble remembering if it was 91 or 92, but it was around that 91, 92 thing.
I remember that. And so you said at that, like, to use that little nugget as a specific reference, like you're saying.
Hold it until I get the laugh I deserve.
Was that part of the act? Was that just feeling it in that moment?
Well, in that moment, okay. So I can't say for sure if there was nothing in that special I hadn't said before. I'm sure there might have been one or two things I said before, but in those days, I had a series of go-to ad-libs kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I had said to myself, I'm just going to do real ad libs. I would have been too scared to do. You know, it's just a weird mental thing.
But there's such a confidence to it, which is like, I think in comedy, I think in a lot of performing arts, the idea of being ready for something not working sounds insane.
Well, that's also the people who I most loved growing up were people who were self-deprecating. So that was like, I loved the Woody Allen movies. I didn't even know Woody Allen's stand-up, but I loved his movies, the like Annie Hall and Manhattan. I loved Richard Lewis and Letterman, because Letterman would make fun of the whole thing. Richard Lewis was always bringing himself into the picture. So that self-deprecation school of comedy, Groucho did it too.
Right.
You know, they call me the Groucho of people who aren't Groucho.
Oh, really? You know what? That means you're at the top of a very big pile.
That's right.
You're doing well.
The people who are nothing like Groucho, I'm at the top.
Yeah.
So I always liked that kind of, and Johnny Carson. I mean,
sure.
Letterman in my generation, like, was the guy for me.
Oh, absolutely.
But he was working on the same Johnny Carson kind of continuum.
I remember when I was a kid watching the daytime Letterman show. I was staying with my grandmother in Texas for like a week and watching and going, again, as a child, but just going, what the hell is this? This is something.
They gave him a holding deal. Like after his morning show didn't work out.
Right.
I hope I'm not wrong about this. They gave him like $1 million holding deal.
Right.
Because they knew who they had. You know, and I think back in those days, executives of the major networks were more plugged in. But, you know, there are people now at cable networks who are more plugged in, you know? Like the guy at FX seems to...
Landgraf?
They seem to know what's good.
They,
you know?
Well,
I mean, they go with their gut.
Which is, and as you know, especially dealing with showbiz stuff for so long, like trusting people going with their gut, boy, you better hope there's somebody out there who likes you because...
Well, the thing is, if you really can't, I mean, it sounds a cliche or whatever, but you really can't come up with comedy or anything. I can't unless it's from the, you know, oh, I think that's funny, so I'm going to do it.
Well, it's like you said, it comes to you. It's just part of who
Right. Now,
you
some
are.
people are good. Like what I'm terrible at is explaining what I do and coming up with a vehicle for how it'd be. Okay, so maybe I'll be the star of a show where I play a guy who yells at everybody.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
And then maybe I'll do it in comedy clubs too. And then maybe I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing, which is a comedy club.
But like,
you can film it.
When you were on, you had a recurring character on Everybody Loves Raymond.
I told you to try to make it more subtle when you asked me.
Sorry about that.
Try it like a...
Now...
I said Russell's Papers or something.
Now, according to this document you handed me before,
yes.
you played the role of Andy.
I think you're making it worse.
No, I think
because
that's
I
fine.
wouldn't be clearing a discovery document like in the OJ trial. Yes, I was on Everybody Loves Raymond. I was a recurring character
By the
for many
way,
years.
Well, one of the best things ever.
I felt it was good.
But you on that show, that's a particular delight.
Well, I can't relate. I grew up loving people I'll give you a perfect example. Sundance now has the Bob Newhart shows. They're playing him from the beginning.
Really?
So you can go on demand. You can watch the first season of the Bob Newhart show.
Love that show.
And now I am not saying I'm Jack Riley. I'm as like Jack Riley was on. Jack Riley is one of the patients on.
Oh yeah. Mr. Carlson.
Yeah, I'm not that on Raymond, but that's what I would aspire to be.
I would say
I would aspire to be.
I would put you in that. I would say Raymond didn't take advantage of you the way they took advantage of Mr. Carlson.
Because they had a different show.
Yeah,
and their show was more like, even though they had characters they brought in, they really did stick with it as a family sitcom. Whereas like Mary Tyler Moore and Dick Van Dyke, they went to the office. You know, they went to the showroom.
They sort of split it up.
Lucy, Ricky went to the club.
Sure, and there's Mr. Nelson.
Mr. Nelson,
Frank Nelson with
you're
Lucy.
talking about Ozzie and Harriet?
No, that's on when Lucille Ball then kind of broke off from.
Oh yes,
I did the Lucy show. Then there was Frank.
Well,
Nelson.
I used to have a joke where I said that Ellen DeGeneres obviously has watched a lot of Lucy. Unfortunately, she's watched Here's Lucy. So that's a joke you can only get if you know that Lucy did a show after I Love Lucy called Here's Lucy, which wasn't as funny as I Love Lucy.
So with Raymond, you being on Everybody Loves Raymond, was that because of your connection with him as a stand-up?
Let me tell you, my friend, yes, it was written for me.
As well as it should have been.
And it's the only way I could have gotten a part in that show.
Oh, let's talk about stuff that's going on right now. Are there TV shows that you're loving now? Is there a movie?
Well, there actually are. I have seen. I saw and I haven't seen that much of it. I saw a little bit of This Is Us. I have to catch up with. I really enjoyed that.
I like that show.
It's got like parts where you go, it's too sentimental, whatever. But that guy I love a lot, Dan Fogelman. He did a movie, Crazy Stupid Love, which was a great movie.
I like that movie.
Yeah, so he's got a lot going on. So I like that show. I liked Insincere on HBO.
Oh yeah, I've heard of it. I haven't watched it. Is it good?
I loved it. I thought it was great. And so there are good things. But then I love Tig's show. I loved Marin. There was a great show called Marin.
But you were on that show.
Oh, interesting, because I just forgot that. Thank you for bringing that up.
No problem.
It sounds now like I may have said it. Who's calling?
Oh, boy.
Mark Marin says, Andy, stop living off of your recurring appearances on Marin. It's time to move on. I have a career and you don't. Now, pick me up some eggs on the way home. Why in this scenario am I living with him?
That doesn't mean. He could be upstairs. He could be like living in your attic.
That's the show.
Oh.
Marin's my upstairs neighbor.
He's like the Fonz.
He's the Fonz.
You're Richie.
He's trapping feral cats all day long. I'm saying, Mark, keep the racket down there with the feral cats. Shut up, Kindler.
I think you had me until we got into the feral cats.
Oh no, he likes to save. He's like a sweetie guy who cries in the middle of the night about a cat that he could have saved in Peru. Sound like Rickles now. In Peru.
Music-wise, obviously, because of what are you listening to?
Well, I like Lucinda Williams. I like Steve Earle. I like...
More the country western-y.
I don't know why I'm bringing that up.
That's okay.
Now.
It's what's on your mind. That's good.
The National. I like a lot.
My brother sends me a different CD every month of different music because I love music, but I don't know where to find it. So I'm always trying to figure out what are the different things.
I like rap that I've heard, but I don't know a lot about it. So I don't want to turn off the hip kids out there, but maybe it's Nas.
You can like rap.
It could be Nas.
Sure.
But the kids I know who like rap, I'll listen, like Tyler, the Creator.
Sure.
He was on Letterman, and then it was the greatest thing I ever saw, and he dropped the mic. So then I got Tyler, the Creator album. I think I got the wrong album.
Oh, because he didn't drop the mic.
Well, he's all up in this, and he's down in the other thing.
And the hip to the hop.
He's all up in the thing now.
You were talking before about how much you enjoyed Letterman.
Right.
And then you were like the Letterman correspondent.
California, ladies and gentlemen, here's Andy Kindler.
Well, that was a dream come true.
That's what I'm waiting. Tell me about this.
If nothing else happens, and I think me doing this podcast is an indication that if nothing else is happening, I'm on the downside.
Oh no, I think this is a second crest.
This is the next level up.
This is it. Hey,
this is it.
Thank you.
What were we talking about? Oh, so yeah, my dream was always to go on to Letterman. I went on there in 1996.
Yeah.
I did not have a great set. I was very disappointed. I was very hard on myself.
Had he seen you before?
No, but we had mutual, like George. I was friends with George Miller, who passed away, who I love, was a great
Who was
comic.
always on his show. Letterman's always been great about that. Certain comedians
he's friends with.
Had on.
Very loyal person.
Yeah.
And then I didn't get on for 4 more years. And my first joke then was that I said, I was here 4 years ago and now I'm here now. And I want you to know I can't live on that kind of money. So that second set was good. And then I did a few more sets. And then he personally, Mr. David Letterman, reached out to my representation to have me do stuff. And so I did all these field pieces for him because he couldn't go out anymore.
Right.
He used to go out and do stuff, but he would get mobbed.
Right.
I do not get mobbed.
Well, so far.
No, I'm telling you.
See tonight. What was that like then, getting that call, doing that job? That must be the most exciting thing in the world.
Well, I also tried different things, so it was interesting. Like I came on, did like an Emmy a review of what the Emmys were, and then we just got into the settle of this groove of these field pieces, and it was just the greatest. And then also when I never stayed past the commercial, but when he would run the video of the thing I shot,
right?
You know, like with the Yankees or wherever I was,
right?
Then he would talk to me then, and then he was very funny. I said to him once, I said, "How you doing?" He goes, "I could drop dead at any moment."
Was this before the heart?
No, this is after the heart.
Okay.
And then one time I was at the toy fair, and I
remember that.
Yeah, I fell off a pogo stick, and it's a hydraulic pogo stick, and I got really hurt. And so every time I come on the show, he would say to me, "You have to sue. You absolutely have to sue. You must sue.
You have to. You have to bring litigation against them."
Because a month later, I had my appendix removed, and I always thought it was related to me jarring around my body.
I wouldn't be
so
surprised.
I said to Letterman, he goes, "Well, the doctors say there's no connection between the appendix and the fall at the toy fair." He goes, "Yeah, right." He was funny. Funny.
Let me ask you this. So we're gonna in a moment we're about to bring somebody in. Tell me who we're about to bring in.
We're bringing in
why?
a comedian, or I don't know if she calls herself a comedienne or a comediette, but I saw Megan Koester at a club, and maybe it was could have been the Chinese restaurant, the Hollywood Palace, whatever it's called. And she is so funny. And she told me, now she might have been lying, but she told me that I was her favorite comedian. All of a sudden, I became much more interested in her act.
Interesting how
I was
that
like,
works.
whoa. I need to know more about the person who thinks that I'm the greatest comedian. And then I saw her and I realized that she is me. She's I call her young Andy Kindler. She's the reincarnation of me.
Uh-oh.
But I'm still alive is the only problem.
We'll see.
That's true.
You look a little ethereal.
Well, I'm telling you, the problem is I'm like the queen. She's been waiting for me to die.
She's ready.
And she's like Prince Albert in the can. No, she's like Prince Charles.
And you'll hear that and more when we come back with more Next Level.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very excited to introduce to you a woman who said to me, she said, "You are my favorite comic. You've always been my favorite comic." Turns around, boom, I see her gesturing at Tim Allen about the She doesn't even remember that bit, probably, right?
I do. I remember the bit, yeah.
Men are pigs.
You got to glad a lot of hands in this business to get on CISO, Andy.
That's right.
Everyone's my favorite comedian.
See how you can tell?
Everyone's beyond reproach.
She said that I was her favorite comedian. Now, I still don't believe that was true, but here's the thing. Then I see her perform, and I say, oh, my God, this is me if I was attractive and successful.
Yeah.
Successful?
Well, okay,
you're the one that owns
part.
a condo in the valley.
Well,
I just stopped sleeping in a closet.
Megan, I told you, don't bring that up so early.
The condo in the valley?
Yes. And also, I told you to say that when you look under one of those celebrity wealth sites, yes, it
Forbes.
is true. I have $1 million. It's absolutely true. No question about it. That's why I'm so easygoing.
Do those star maps, do they include condos in the valley on them?
Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce for you, there's nobody funnier on the planet than her. There's nobody who's having more trouble making a living than her. Megan Koester, everybody.
Woo!
Hey, wow.
Hey, don't bring us down, Megan.
I only spent an hour on the phone with the EBT people today.
What does that mean,
It's fine.
EBT?
EBT, it's food stamps, but on a card.
Is that how you pitch the movie?
That's my elevator pitch for my own poverty.
Yeah, give me the elevator pitch for this show.
I have to, suckle at the teat of a nanny state in order to survive.
What was that like so you see him at the show? Was it a show you were performing at? You guys are both performing at together?
I had seen him before I even started doing comedy.
No, but see, I assumed that you were like a consumer of, that you were almost like an Andy Kindler fanatic, that you had all of my stuff on Showtime.
I have the DVD, if that's what you mean.
No, don't. See, this is the thing.
I have the DVD.
If she was I want more of a crazy fanatic fan. Oh, Andy, you're the best. And she's like, yeah, I've got your DVD.
I got it.
Singular.
Oh, no. So you had a Comedy Central special once. I don't know how many.
Two.
Okay, one of them.
2
years ago.
2 Shakespeare. I call everybody Shakespeare now. Nice try, Shakespeare.
I remember I was taking a walk. I had an alarm set on my watch in order to be home in time to see it.
Oh.
It was crunch time. I was too far away from home. I ran home to watch it.
Are you kidding me?
I not you shit.
How old
was I? I don't know, 27 or something.
All right.
No, come on. You were not 27. She used to wear, when she first met her, she used to wear an Andy Kindler shirt. It was very strange. And
well, there's a lot of strange things on Cafe Press, if you poke around.
Have you always wanted to be a stand-up?
No.
Oh, I like this.
And I still probably don't.
Oh.
I mean, I don't.
Well, you're like
really,
him. Do you feel like you just kind of are drawn to it? You are compelled.
I think I'm preternaturally talented.
Yeah.
In
I
that
agree
regard.
with that. I don't think there's anything weird about that. I think that's right.
So I've wanted to quit many times. I feel like I would be doing a disservice because most comedians are awful. And I'm not.
Do you, if you weren't doing comedy, would you be a musician? Would you still want to sort of have a avenue in front of people? Do you know what I mean?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I mean, I make my money writing. So yeah, I'm fine with doing that.
Do you prefer, if you had to pick one sort of fantasy, like in terms of the writing or?
I guess maybe acting because it's easy because all you have to do is be good at lying.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but I mean, I did an acting thing. No big deal. Wow.
No.
It's fine. For a Viacom property, it's no big deal.
No.
Wow. Okay. No.
Is this CISO related?
No.
Is this in addition to CISO?
No, I have been on CISO. I don't mean to brag. Proudly non-union gig. But this was a SAG thing. They take so much out in taxes.
Yes, they do.
I gotta say, I feel like I'm being punished for being a member of the coastal elite.
No, you'll get that money back. Well, first of all, once you
is this not relatable? All the taxes that got taken out?
No. You have to pay dues. Did you pay your initial joining?
No, I think the next gig I get, I have to.
But once you pay that, those taxes they take out, you should get back at the end of the year. You go to my 1-day workshop. It's $1,000
at the annex.
It's at the annex.
Yeah.
It's not Scientology exactly, but there is clearing.
Mm-hmm.
There is an e-meter, but it refers to something that comes in the mail. Email.
Entertainment meter.
Entertainment meter.
That's what you mean, right?
Yeah. You hold on to 2 little miniature Jim Belushis, and it has and you squeeze them depending on how angry his reruns make you. And then there's a person who audits.
Hasn't he been through enough? His brother died.
Who died? Who died and made Jim Belushi a big star?
There we go.
I do this joke
Kindler.
every day.
Yep.
But look, here's the thing. The reason why I do comedy is for when that smile breaks out on a young kid like Megan Koester. Are you like one of these people, you're like 60 and this is your whole gimmick the whole time, pretending you're a member of the younger generation?
No, I wish.
Megan, are you actually a Russian little person posing as a child and you're actually going to assassinate your whole family?
I mean, they're already
Orphan
dead
the movie.
To me.
Have you seen that?
If I said Lee Harvey Oswald's relative, what would that feeling would that bring up for you? Marina, are you related to Marina Oswald?
No, I'm not.
How about Marina Del Rey?
No. What if I just refuse to riff for the rest of this?
We've been mixed
every
nuts.
question I say no.
Okay, that's the see. I want to prove to you that Megan Koester, we are going to produce comedy with disagreeing.
This is my new character, someone who doesn't understand humor.
Okay, so here it is.
This is going to be great.
Give us an occupation.
You guys are pilots in a plane.
Okay, and give us an activity.
You are flying a plane.
Okay.
Hey, this plane is unbelievable with the flying. What do you think? Do you agree?
Seems perfectly normal to me.
We've been mixed nuts. I've been Filbert. She's been Cashew. I've been Walter. See how I switched it at the end?
Yeah.
You think I'm going to say walnut? All right. I am so sick of myself. I'm going to throw back the interview to you, and I'm just going to sit back. And if I have something,
don't go anywhere.
That's real decent of you.
Yeah,
just throw it back to the fucking hose.
Well, look, I'm just going to figure out my end of show plugs.
Oh yeah, you got to check
I'm
your
more like
metrics
a camp
too.
counselor. I just sort of like, as long as everybody's got marshmallows and a guitar, we're fine.
I'll tell you what, you can't rein this guy in. Anyway,
Why would you want to? That's not that. That is the opposite of reason of bringing you guys here is reining you in. Megan, besides Andy, do you have other people comedy wise that you enjoy?
I not you shit. He is the only person I would actually leave my house to see on a show that I'm not on.
I 100% believe it because I saw your thing at Meltdown, and as soon as you walked on the stage, I was like, oh my God, she's doing. You were not doing an impression of him, but you were in the same. No, but you were in the same zone as him.
Please, everybody, welcome Megan Koester.
Yo, 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 yo! What's up, party sheeple? Yo, 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 yo! If you think 9/11 was an inside job, let me hear you make some noise!
Like the way you do that patter where it's like, hey, everybody, change your clothes to be back. Like, you're not just being funny, you're teaching the audience, I'm going to take comedy apart. Like, it's really exciting and funny.
It's just, I just talk too fast. I try and push everything I possibly can.
I think she is taking what I'm doing to the next level. I may not make it to the top of the mountain. When I say top of the mountain,
you mean
I
top
mean
of the
enough
valley?
money to retire with. But you
God,
will.
no.
But you will. You will, because she does what I do, but she's younger. She has more energy. She's even angrier than me.
She's
if
on
that's
CISO.
Humanly possible. She's got a CISO thing.
Have you been on
happen.
CISO?
I don't like to brag. in general. Look, I know my way around the web of companies.
What did you do on CISO?
Something where comedians read things that they didn't write that were published in McSweeney's.
I read that. I did that one too.
You did
I liked
that too?
That's audible.com.
Yeah.
You know, I just want to say that, Megan, not only did I do that, I got paid twice as much. What did you get paid?
You probably did get paid twice.
$2,000.
You got paid?
$4,000.
How much did you get?
$8,000.
Oh my God.
I told
Son
her
of
when
a
she
bitch.
first met me, she said, "What can you look forward to in this?" I said, "You can look forward to. Do you know? Can you put your hand over your fist? Because that's the kind of money you're going to be making." You come back to me in 6 months, and if you're not making that kind of money, and then you'll know what I'm talking. And then she came back.
I think he told you something along the lines of like, if I'm anything like him, which I am, it's going to mean I'm going to toil for about 10 years and maybe not make it.
No, I don't think so. First of all, at her age, I look like a freak. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I worked as a freak.
I've seen you at her age.
I'm just kidding. I was very handsome, devilishly handsome. Mm-hmm. No, you're more advanced than I started when I was 28. When she was 28, she already had 2 hours, and she had a crowd work show, and scripts.
Megan, let me ask you about, you said if you weren't doing comedy, you like writing. Is there a writer you enjoy? Is there a type of writing? I know you've done a bunch of stuff for Vice.
Right. I like people like Joan Didion.
Mm-hmm. What about that? What about her writing? What about that?
I do the same sort of thing where I just go places that I don't understand and observe.
That's what I got.
And report.
That's what I thought was interesting, because you kind of identify yourself not as a journalist, but
right.
You do.
I never wanted to be a journalist. I just met a guy at a really awful open mic years ago who became an editor at Vice, and then he asked me if I wanted to start writing for them, and then that just sort of made my career.
So are you sort of, would you say that then you're sort of exploring? Is that the idea behind it? Or do you get assignments? Do you say, hey, I want to go to
I pitch
New
things
Orleans?
Generally, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and also, they won't pay me to go anywhere. So if I happen to be somewhere where there might be a story, then I could write a story.
So you got a real great piece about like, hey, I'm going to be at my family's house for Thanksgiving. Maybe I could do.
Or hey, I'm going to be, in Darfur and I plan on getting a yeast infection. So
what's that?
I'm trying to go with the Vice brand. What?
What's Darfur?
Darfur.
Oh, Darfur.
Like I would say, that's always my stock fake Vice articles. I got a yeast infection in Darfur.
And that's, what's interesting about that is normally Darfur, I wouldn't think it would be a funny word, but in your hands,
Darfur.
It
just kind of,
forget about it. Remember you had those shirts? Forget about it.
I mean, some people said they were insensitive, but I say they're cucks. You know what I mean?
Hey,
trust no cuck.
She came up. She
keep those cucks down.
The cucks. I'm
the queen of the cucks,
I'm a libtard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
huge libtard.
I'm a big libtard.
I get that. That wafts off of you, libtard.
I still can't believe that people could write to you, "Oh, typical libtard," and think that you're going to look at that
and be like, "Wait a second.
Whoa, wait a second.
Let me reach across the aisle."
You got my attention.
Now keep it.
You got me out of my thing by calling me a libtard. You know what? Thank you, First Amendment.
Do you still engage with these people that are...
No, I have a problem. I have an addiction to social networking. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to address that in my own life.
What are you doing?
Less of it.
Mm-hmm.
And
are you online all the time?
Well, I got this app that tells me how often I'm online and what I'm doing when I'm online.
So it shames you, basically.
Yes. And I don't know why spending 9 hours on cigars I don't know why spending 8 hours on cigars shaped like muffins is bad.
Hey, Andy, how's that mint treating you?
Well, it was a pot mint brown. It was. I get all kinds of, and I'm not saying that I do this, but the character of Andy Kindler seems to enjoy pot in all of its forms.
Sure, why not?
And it's really great. Megan, all of a sudden, she gives you that look like, oh, great. He's in La La Land.
Don't get me started on
Did you see La La Land?
La La Land was how I found out that if you leave a movie less than 30 minutes into it and demand your money back, they have to give it to you.
Oh my God, that's cool.
That's how you found that out?
Yeah,
I used to work in a movie theater. Oh yeah, that's the deal. 30 minutes.
Well, it's because the first 5 minutes was just, it was horrifying.
What, the dance on the 105?
Yeah, I say that the first 5 minutes of La La Land is my version of the first 5 minutes of Saving Private Ryan. It was just, it was like watching a snuff film or something. They were taking my beloved city and shooting it in the head.
What's your relationship to musicals?
I I was going to say, I got laid a lot in high school. I never did, but I was never cool either. But I never grew up around.
Who were you in high school?
Jennifer. Which one of the friends? Are you Jennifer?
I was a Miranda.
You're Miranda.
I don't know.
She's crazy.
I would think you were a Kim Cattrall.
What's the one that loves
Denise?
I think it's Denise. No, Denise is the name of my fictional ex-wife.
Samantha.
Okay, I was Samantha. I was just, the kind of person girl who cut her own hair.
Okay.
Does that explain?
I understand.
Everything?
That was the girl I dated in high school cut her own hair.
Cut her own hair.
I get that. Artsy.
I wrote something for Ms. Magazine when I was 16 years old.
No way. Wait.
It's the first time I was ever published.
Come on. That's the first time anybody's published. 16 years old. That's amazing.
What was the article about?
Being a teenage feminist. It's so bad. It's really bad.
Did the school recognize it? Did a teacher?
No, I didn't have any. All I would do, I would just eat M&Ms in the library at lunchtime. So, because I didn't have any friends. And the librarian saw it.
And she said, send this into Ms.?
No, the librarians happened to see it in the magazine.
No way.
You mean you didn't even know it was accepted?
No, I knew it was, but I didn't have anybody to tell it to.
She kept it to herself.
To brag about her.
Oh, that's a sad story.
Andy, Megan took the attitude that maybe not everything I do, I need to shout about.
Yeah, Megan took the attitude that if the only person who likes what you did is the librarian, well, that's sad.
Sad! Exclamation point.
What did they pay?
I think it was either $500 or $800.
Oh my God!
Which is the most I had been paid for an article until I was 32 years old.
That is so great.
That's awesome.
And did you meet Gloria Steinem?
I did not, sadly.
And you just sent it in cold?
I did. Yeah, send it in cold.
No kidding. Was that at that point where you're like, okay, that's it. Writing is my deal.
Well, she plagiarized Joan Didion, and she did that from age 16 through 31.
Through 38.
Did you guys tour together?
No, we should.
We should tour together.
Do you tour?
I don't tour go from this place to that place. I go home because it's one of my.
But you go.
I belabor it.
But you'll go to Nashville for a weekend or something.
Absolutely, I should take Megan with me over there.
It seems like a natural.
It seems like a slam dunk.
That would be a good. I don't know why I haven't thought of it before because
I don't know why either. Frankly,
no, you should come. That would be a perfect pairing.
That'd be fun. Or do you maybe want to get a little because you guys have a similar style? Is there a conscious thing of we need to bring a third person just to a prop comedian?
We should form a comedy duo and split the little money we're making now.
I'm into it.
Yeah, you're into it because you see the Gravy Train.
Choo choo.
Yeah, exactly. You want to get on the
condo money,
but didn't you hear her say she would not go out and see any other comedian other than you? Why is that? What about Andy gets you all fired up?
He just cracks my shit up, man. I don't know. I mean, he makes my face hurt from the laughing.
Mm-hmm. But I mean,
I think because it's the relentless barrage. It's just endless.
That's true.
And the fact that he can never just keep a straight train of thought. I love the asides.
Oh, the asides. Yeah, I call them cul-de-sacs. But those are my favorite things in the world, where it's we're going here, and then you stop and you kind of do a little.
And all I have to say is, so you see, that wasn't that funny. Oh, so I'm wrong. Because after a hilarious act, I say something not so bad. Oh, I'm the bad guy.
The self-referential, the meta stuff.
Yeah, the meta stuff.
Because I'm a meta mama.
And she does the same thing.
Yeah, you do.
But it's the same thing. We're the same. It's not that we're the same person, but we're from the same tribe.
But to say you guys are the same person, I think it's diminishing because you're not the same person.
Because we can't find clothes that fit when we all want to dress together. I say we're the same person. I say we should share a suit. She's not into it. No. I know that she's a different person than me.
Yeah.
But she's like a comedic doppelganger. Right. Is that correct?
Yeah. If you're saying that I've stolen my entire comedic persona from you,
no,
maybe.
You haven't. We are both share the same sense of humor.
Yeah. But that's a truism though of the people that we are influenced by.
Howie Mandel, me, and Megan Koester.
Holy Trinity.
The Holy Trinity of comedy.
Yeah.
So Howie Mandel is your influence?
I did call her Megan Koester for many, many months.
That's fine.
And then later on, it was found that I also have other problems too. I have vertigo.
Did you see me on Nightline when they called me Megan Koester? Is that where you got it?
I saw that with Joel Stein. I wanted to ask you about that.
I was on ABC's Nightline because I trolled Joel Stein.
Stein became concerned when a user with the handle Born Feral, a.k.a. Megan Koester, repeatedly threatened to kick his ass.
Did he start arguing with you?
No, he wrote a Time magazine cover story about trolls and put me in it because I was the closest thing that he had to a troll.
Oh, because you were trolling him. I saw.
I was threatening him.
Were your eyes like you couldn't believe it when it happened because that he thought you were a troll?
Well, no, I was threatening him, but jokingly.
What were you saying to him?
Hold on, back it up a little bit for the people who have not seen this story. Walk us through it.
I started tweeting. I tweeted something about Joel Stein once, and I found out
he's a columnist. He used to. I first encountered him at Time Out New York, and he's gone on to like Newsweek, and he's
he thinks a lot of himself.
He writes for Time, and
and he thinks he does think he's hilarious.
I tweeted something about him, and I guess he's the sort of person that searches for his own name.
Me too.
I didn't add him. I didn't reply him.
Right.
So he responded to it.
Aren't we all that person? Don't we all search for ourselves? To a certain degree.
I bet Megan is more normal in that area.
I don't, because I'm sure if I search my own name, people would be saying that I'm a cunt or whatever.
Okay, so anyways, so you...
and so then I decided, I don't know, I just thought it would, like the obscurity of the subject and just threatening to kick Joel Stein's ass.
And also
that was funny.
Coming out of nowhere from you.
Coming out of nowhere, exactly. It's like a one-sided rivalry.
Yeah.
So I just kept threatening to kick his ass, like at the Gelson's parking lot. Like, meet me in the Gelson's parking lot in 15 minutes. I'm going to kick your ass, et cetera, et cetera. And I did it for years, and he never responded until he emailed me.
Give me an example. Give me a sample tweet.
Hey, I started adding him. It was like, hey, Joel Stein, meet me at the Gelson's on Hyperion in 15 minutes. I'm going to kick your ass. Like, that's a sample tweet.
Would he do things that prompted you, or would you just be like...
No, sometimes I just remember the existence of Joel Stein.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, the randomness is the
Well, that's,
part.
Yeah, who harasses Joel? That was the joke.
Yeah.
But then when he was writing the story, he emailed me and we started talking. And I realized that, I mean, even though I think of myself as a pretty inoffensive character, I'm like 5'2", you know, I did some things that gave him pause. Like when the Clifton's cafeteria reopened, I was there to write about it. And I also saw him there. And I was drunk at the time at, 3 p.m. on a weekday. And I saw him walk by, and I decided to start threatening him while he was there. Like,
online?
Yeah, like, I tweeted at him, like, hey, Joel Stein, meet me outside Clifton's in 15 minutes. I'm going to kick your ass. And he was there with his wife and child.
Oh, no. But did you know that?
Yeah.
Oh, you saw him with his wife and child. Yeah. And you were like Ashton Kutchered him. Yeah. Like, oh, this will be hilarious.
This will be hilarious if he feels unsafe knowing that I'm in the same room.
I think
that kind of crosses the line. Yeah.
But I get where you're, because you have that comedy brain where like, oh my God, he's here. I have to take advantage of this.
I thought it was funny, but then it turns out it could also be seen as threatening.
Because you have a Squeaky Fromm vibe to you.
I do have a little bit of Squeaky
Fromm
vibe.
Did you ultimately feel bad about that part?
Briefly.
But they had an interview. The Nightline put them together on a couch.
Yeah, we were on Nightline together.
And so what happened? What was that dynamic?
I mean, I would consider him, a colleague now.
Okay.
We've played racquetball together.
How is he?
That's not true.
Is it really?
That is true. At the Glendale YMCA, yeah, we played racquetball.
You play racquetball?
Yeah.
I can't play that sport. All of a sudden, you turn around one way, it's coming the other way.
Well, I like it because there's never anybody on the courts. Yeah, so you never have to see anybody.
Where do you know where to stand? The ball's coming this way, boom, that thing.
You got to move.
I can move. I can run around like a moron. Yeah. So are you friends now? You and Joel Stein?
I would say we're friendly. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So he knows now that you're not dangerous.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
When you were on the thing with Nightline,
because I don't know that about you.
Yeah. Did he know everything was safe at that point?
Oh, yeah. That's after we had already met and he had already written the Time cover story and everything.
And did he? I'm assuming you knew that you were be part of the magazine article. That
yeah, I did. But then he also, you're gonna love this. He said that I was a lesbian comedian in Time magazine.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That's the only piece of information I supplied him for that article. And I did it as a joke. It was a Mike Ashton Kutcher-like prank. Oh, all I know about her is she's a lesbian comedian.
All I know about is that Time magazine doesn't fact check.
Yeah, apparently. The Time magazine.
At all.
By the way, that was probably a good time to tell that you can announce your Ashton Kutcher prank show.
Yeah,
you've referenced Ashton Kutcher prank shows 17 times.
What we do is we take a celebrity and we go up to him and we go, "Hi, your wife. I'm sorry to inform you, your wife is dead in the hospital from a terrible accident." What? It's a joke. Joking. Kidding.
You've been Kindlered.
You've been Kindlered.
Megan, in terms of the last year or so, is there anything that you are watching that you love? TV, film, besides Mr. Kindler, of course.
I liked Fleabag a lot.
You know that feeling when a guy you like sends you a text at 2 o'clock on a Tuesday night asking if he can come and find you, and you've accidentally made it out like you've just got in yourself, so you have to get out of bed, drink half a bottle of wine, get in the shower, shave everything, dig out some agent provocateur business, suspend about the whole bit, and wait by the door until the buzzer goes. And then you open the door to him like you've almost forgotten he's coming over. Oh. Hi.
Hey.
And then you get to it immediately.
Oh, yeah? Why?
Because it
and for people who don't know what that is, that's a show on, is it Amazon?
It was an English show that was on Amazon
I'm going to write that down. She wouldn't steer me wrong except for Woody Allen's show.
You know what? Wait, did you watch all the episodes, Andy?
No, I only watched 2.
Fuck off.
You can't say that on this show. This is the only show that doesn't allow it. So it's called Fleabag?
Fleabag, yeah.
Okay.
How many episodes?
There's 6, I believe.
On Amazon.
On Amazon. And it's just an English show about a woman who's a scumbag.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a show about, it's a comedy, but it's women that you don't normally see that kind of character.
Which I think is exciting. And I've heard a lot of great stuff about that. Any movies or anything like that you've seen that you've enjoyed? It doesn't have to be recently. These could be like, when I was a kid, I loved Never Ending Story.
You know what? I wouldn't mind because I have these screeners. I don't know if I've mentioned it, but I'm a member of the Screen Actors Guild.
Oh.
Not like you. I'm in good standing. What do you suggest of the current crop that I have on a SAG screener?
Okay, current crop. I saw
Manchester.
I did see Manchester by the Sea.
Good?
Yeah, I mean, massholes have feelings too. You know what I mean?
Is that your favorite Casey Affleck vehicle?
In that it's probably the only Casey Affleck vehicle I've ever seen.
He was very good in Friends with Money.
What the fuck's that, Andy?
It's a Nicole Holofcener movie.
See, I don't watch movies made by women.
Oh.
Because I'm sexist.
Nice. Do you have a favorite
movie? If a movie passes the Bechdel test, I don't want anything to do with it.
That's it?
Because life doesn't pass the Bechdel test.
You're more like an Armageddon, like a Transformers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm not like other girls, is basically what I'm saying.
Nice.
Yeah. I love watching like The Game.
If you were president, it'd be great. It'd be great except that one day a month.
The one day of the month when I got my finger on the button.
Yeah.
My hand on the diva cup.
I'm moody. Goodbye, Virginia.
I spill my chai tea all over the button.
Come on. I'm so enamored of her because she looks like the future to me. She's me. And when I really want to be on my deathbed and I want you to take a baton from me. Mm-hmm. It would be symbolic because I'll be broke. I'll be in the show business retirement home.
Right.
You will sell the baton after I'm dead.
Probably before, because you'll be so out of it.
You'll pawn the baton.
For those listening, that is the 8th reference Andy has made to his own death.
Let me tell you something. When I see a bright young kid like her without cynicism, she has no cynicism.
None whatsoever.
You want to smother her like a flame.
And she's like, you know what? Maybe tomorrow. She sings too. She goes, maybe tomorrow things will work out.
That's why I didn't like La La Land. It's too close to home.
Oh, man.
You know?
I didn't like the other movie. I wanted to like the other movie.
What other movie?
His first movie.
Whiplash.
I didn't see it.
Yeah. Do you think he's overrated, or do you think we've all drank in the Kool-Aid, or is it more of a?
I physically could not watch La La Land.
Has anyone in this room liked La La Land?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. But
Did you see why she walked out though?
I think if you don't like musicals, that's going to be a hard one to get through.
My brother and his wife could not stand it. They actually felt insulted by having to watch the movie.
I felt like it was lessening my IQ.
I'm a real sucker though for romantic stories. Like basically until I met my wife, I feel like I went through a series of, I fucked that up. Oh, I fucked that up.
Right,
so the story of that movie to me resonated where I was like, oh yeah, that's another romance gone fucking south. Like that stuff.
There's a plot. In the La La Land has a plot.
Yeah, there's a romance story to it. We're going to have to wrap things up here in a second.
Really?
Hold on, before we go.
A2 Shakespeare?
I want to give you both a chance to say like.
I thought that would be a prize.
As far as social media, where can people find you?
I'm on Twitter at Born Feral.
Okay.
And my personal website is inoffensivecomedian.com.
Do you post stuff as far as your writings and stuff? If people
I have links to like my author pages everywhere.
And obviously, if you Google you, like I found links to, I think you have 8 pages worth of material on Vice, which I thought was amazing.
Yeah, I've written a lot for them. Yeah.
That's great. Do you want to continue doing stuff for them?
Yeah, sure.
All right. But I mean, in terms of the next thing, because I think of you as a writer, like, does that mean there's a book?
Yeah, I would like to write a book.
Like what? What would you write?
A book of essays of the sort of shit that I already write.
Got it. I like that.
Or something about how I used to commit return fraud for a living for 10 years.
I'm sorry, what now?
I used to commit return fraud for a living for 10 years.
And have you written about that?
No, because I don't know when the statute of limitations expires.
Oh, interesting.
Can you tell? I know we have a hard out, but tell me quickly what return fraud is.
I'll tell you off mic.
Okay.
Oh, something for the podcast listener to
Off
fantasize
mic is a
about.
bar we go to every night.
Oh, that's great.
And it's unbelievable. It's this guy. It's owned by a guy named Mike.
Mhm.
He's a little off.
Yeah. Does he have Tourette's?
And he has Tourette's. And the gimmick is he's off the mic in the club as well.
Andy is holding his head.
I can't believe you own a condo.
So sad at himself. Andy, if people want to
Unreal.
find you online, where can they find you?
I'm at Born Feral. I'm at Andy Kindler on Twitter is where you can mostly find me and you start to see what's wrong with me systemically.
Mm-hmm. And if they want to see, like before you're talking about music and you also do watercoloring, if they want to see any of that kind of stuff.
Well, I do have, soon will be coming out my first speech I gave in Montreal called the State of the Industry speech. It will be coming out online.
Really?
1996.
You know they're on YouTube. I would highly recommend if you're a fan of Andy Kindler, find his State of the Union speeches. How many have you done those?
Well, the thing is, it's really the only ones that you can find that have been released are the last, I think, 3 or 4 years.
Right.
Everything else before that, I only have.
Oh, really?
I'm sitting on what's something that's not a gold mine, and it's not worth something, but
Powder
it's a
keg.
mine.
A landmine.
Landmine.
I'm
There
sitting
you go.
on a landmine, a pile of
ash
of bitcoins.
I highly recommend if you are a fan of Andy Kindler. Those things are so famous within the comedy community. Like in 30 seconds, it's essentially at the Just for Laughs Comedy Festival every year in Montreal, Canada. They would have a State of the Union address, and at some point or another, somebody put you at the wheel.
No. I mean, I don't want to make it more than it is, but let's do that.
Yeah.
I was the first. My manager, Bruce Smith, came up with the idea of State of the Industry.
Okay.
I did a hack comics demonstration one year, and the next year I did a State of the Industry, and it just happened to be it's now going to be the 20th year of it.
It's amazing.
So
they're so
yes,
funny,
and it's my career. It's rocketed me
to the valley.
I still am able to do it though. I'm still able to go back after a year, and people say, "How do you do it with your schedule?" Very easy.
Yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to go back to JFL after what
that's
happened
another
last
story,
year.
but we'll talk about that one after we talk about
my
return
gosh.
fraud.
So much good stuff off mic. I'm Chris Tallman. You've been listening to Next Level. Thank you so much for coming here
This
today.
was fun.
Was it? What was the funnest part?
Megan Koester.
I would agree with that. Megan, thank you for being here.
Yeah, sure, thanks.
Wow.
Oh my God.
She did not want to
that
be
seemed
What a
disingenuous,
cynic,
but I
know.
didn't.
How can you not end disingenuously?
Everything I say sounds
That's
disingenuous.
okay.
Until next time, yeah, right.
Thanks again to Andy Kindler and Megan Koester for being here. Now, a couple things, a little homework for you here, but fun homework. This is next level homework. This is not like, this sucks homework. This is fun things. Today we talked about the Young Comedian special. Andy was on the one in 1992 on HBO. You should look that up. Of course, any David Letterman. It's going to be great. You can get young Dave when he's like cranky and young, or you can watch old Dave where he's like cranky and happy. Cranky's the theme here. And of course, Nightline featuring Joel Stein. Anything featuring Joel Stein, I'll be curious to hear what you think about Mr. Stein. Next Level with Chris Tallman is a Stitcher original and a production of Midroll Media. Our executive producers are Chris Bannon and Jenny Radlett, and producer is Rob Hara. He's nice.